well as the Void Spirit. They also went Pango in that game, so I wonder, is this a 5 Bat Rider with the 3 still needed?
RNG's turn to ban.
So they ban out the Clockwork.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Let's see what they want to do here for the ban from Royal Never Give Up. They're still trying to hold on to this series, down 1-0 so far after Vici really ran through them in game 1. You also need somebody to be able to take care of this Phoenix Supernova, and they go into the Sand King. So Sand King off lane, that'll throw the Bat Rider into the 5, Phoenix 4, or potentially Phoenix 5, Bat Rider 4, Void Spirit mid, safe lane, Morphling, and now Vici with their final pick, quick on it, they still go to the Void. With themselves up against this Phoenix, and Void Spirit at a point can Astral step across the entire Chrono. At least that's what I remember seeing in a game where there was a Void Spirit and a Faceless Void recently. So Flywin on the Sand King, Monet on the Morphling, September on the Phoenix, Super on the Bat Rider, so it will be a 5-position Bat Rider, and Setsu on the Void Spirit. Their lockdown consisting of Burrow Strike, Lasso, as well as the Aether Remnant. For the side of Vici Gaming, they've got the Chronosphere here for yours on the Faceless Void, Fissure from PYW on the 4-position Earthshaker, Ori on the Death Prophet, Yang on the Timber Saw, and DY with that Disruption on the Shadow Demon. So we'll see if Vici can lock it down and get the 2-0, or if this is going to go the way of Royal Never Give Up and push it to a game 3. Something that really they weren't able to do in that first game was execute, and I feel like that's usually the difference maker between these higher teams, is just their ability to get executions out there of what they're trying to do and their playmaking, and we didn't see that from RNG at all. They weren't really executing at all throughout that first game, and especially in the laning phase, things looked shaky for, not just Setsu, but even Monet at times on the Morphling. So they go back to the Morphling here in the 1 position for the side of Royal Never Give Up. They've also got the Void Spirit, which was inevitable due to the fact that the side of Vici did, in fact, let it go through the draft, or go through that first phase of bans. Right now it's 3 heroes towards top for the side of Vici. Monet will be zoned out of the 2 bounty runes in the top end. Should just be 2 apiece.
30 seconds to battle. The battle begins.
So there it is, 2 apiece. The walk DY all the way towards bottom. See if he will take that Shadow Poison a level 1. Try to throw it here over onto Flywin as well as September. They've got, the combination that we've seen with Phoenixes previously. We saw it in the previous game for Vici, where there's a stun involved. as well as, you know, the aggression coming in from the Phoenix, constantly throwing those fire spirits out there. It's a little bit different compared to the Centaur, where you're not getting those retaliate stacks and having that ability to, you know, have the stun and the extra damage come through. But for DY here, we'll just try to Shadow Poison, and up against the Phoenix, this could be a, you know, potential nuisance. 3 stacks of Shadow Poison out on to Flywind. Now gets a second stack here on September. Trying to set up to land, I believe, Shadow Poison on both of them. We'll miss that 5th stack, and I believe this will pop on Flywind in just a second, and it will. So Timber towards top takes reactive armor level 1. Some of these heroes, some of these Timbers we have been seeing have elected to go to the Whirling Death first, but I'm happy with the reactive armor, as well as now the Timber Chain. That one's a little bit more surprising because sometimes it's reactive armor, Whirling Death back in to the reactive armor. But mobility here for the Timber Saw, as well as a good chunk of regen with reactive armor. See if he ends up going into the 1-1-1. Meanwhile, taking a look over mid, it's 6-3 to the 3-1 here for Ori. See what he can do up against this Void Spirit. And the Void Spirit early on, well, he's gone into the Resonant Pulse as well as the Aether Remnant just to start, and that Resonant Pulse can certainly become a nuisance here. Goes into the bottle early, won't be able to refill it off a Power Rune until 4 minutes in. Meanwhile, they're rotating over PYW, but Setsu very close to the tower, so throwing a fissure out there wouldn't exactly turn into much. Taking the Observer Ward on the high ground, and leaving the lane now will be PYW. Delivers the sentry, and then leaves the lane alone. Meanwhile, Eurus with the first hit bash coming through on the Flywind. Oh, a second bash. Always a good feeling every time that time lock procs. 16% chance there. Over back towards top as Monet, 15-4, a much different game than he had in the previous one. You know, with so many times where he just continued to get pushed further and further back, forcing him to stay a little bit more conservative within the lane, and now this time he's up on top of the CS. So things feeling a little bit easier. Meanwhile, Yang taking a couple of stacks here of the sticky napalm. Super does have Flame Break, and you know, could put some pressure out onto Yang, but has 2 in the reactive armor, sitting here with quite a bit of regen. Whirling Death comes out on the Monet, who should be A-okay without really any interference coming through from PYW, as he starts to run away from Super with a couple of stacks sticking napalm on him as well, and he turns back, gets a third. I wonder, will we see a potential fight here towards the top Power Rune? No. It'll actually be September picking up the Invis, so Dire controls both runes, but it does cost them a bunch of heroes here through mid to do so. South gets popped. Coming through towards middle is PYW. Got the boot seal, hit the fissure. Setsu now blocked out, but has the dissimilate. So he jumps away. That fissure not really working out to anything more than just a little bit of harassment. Flame Break and more sticky napalm stacks coming in from Super. Make it a 5th. We'll continue to chase this Timber Saw, and Timber Saw trying to regen as much as possible. 13.3 here. And we'll finally be able to salve up. Meanwhile, bottom, Flywind on the run. A couple of Shadow Poison stacks on him. Nothing more.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Things staying awfully quiet the first 5 minutes into the game. Got Yang, though, sitting at level 5, as is Monet. He'll get early into that 6 and Chakram area. Definitely feels a little bit lackluster coming in from the Earthshaker, but PYW makes an appearance over towards bottom, and they'll get the kill there with the Shadow Poison. First blood finally coming through for Vici. They finally get one on the board, but it definitely took a lot longer than maybe was expected from them. Especially with PYW just roaming around the map looking for openings. Wasn't going to get it over mid with the Dissimulate available for the Void Spirit. Hard to grab it there on the Morphling too. And Setsu, whoa! Exorcism committed for that. Wow. And maybe some thoughts back to the first game. Because that was just Setsu getting ripped apart by Exorcism committed. They're going to try and maybe put some pressure onto the Tier 1 tower as well. September sits here, and let's get the Ghosts in as we try to get a bit of damage out onto the Tier 1 tower.
Dire's structures are fortified.
So CS not great here for Yang, but sitting level 6. Just about equal with what Flywin has in terms of experience, though for net worth, not as close. Leading the way right now is Monet on this Morphling. This is where he likes to be. That will be the E-Blade first. That's the difference between last game and this one, where he was struggling in lane. He went over into the Manta style. This time it'll be treads into the E-Blade. Setsu taking some damage there with the Spirit Siphon. Back on him. He Astral Steps forward. Resonant Pulse comes out. He doesn't have any more Astral Steps available. Well, Aether Remnant lock up Ori, unable to continue to give chase onto this Void Spirit. Meanwhile, Yang parking himself under the Tier 1 tower, but Monet turns into the Timber Saw and now will give chase. Timber Chain comes out, super moving over. Won't be able to catch up to the Timber, and now two heroes rotate towards mid. Try and make a bothersome situation for this Void Spirit. So, Eurus has level 7. He's got them himself the Chronosphere available. Going for the Mask of Madness to start this off. And they look over for Flywin, who needs to be careful with the Chronosphere, especially if he gets too many stacks of Shadow Poison on him. Take a look. Yang having enough gold there to buy out on the Arcane Boots. Meanwhile, Ori has gone all the way back to base. He'll heal up. He's going into the Euls first. TP's back towards mid. Looks like they're thinking about setting up here towards bottom, looking for Flywin, but PYW only sitting level 3. He's trying to get himself into the Blink Dagger. Burrow Strike away. Won't land the Fissure. Will they commit the Chronosphere for this? They've got the Fissure now to stop Flywin in his tracks. Doesn't have Burrow Strike for 8 more seconds, and they do go to the Chrono. I'm not certain that was necessary, but they will use it just to get the Sand King. There was a lot of time until he had Burrow Strike and a way out of that exchange. He could have dove the Tier 1 tower and potentially landed a couple more stacks of the Shadow Poison just to get the kill. Towards top, Monet. Doing some damage here from Yang. Goes heavy into the Agi, and now with the Adaptive Strike hitting on Yang, he needs to start to back away. He's got some help here from PYW. The Fissure lifts the totem off his back, but doesn't slam it down to get the Fissure out. And now they'll look over as Ori has got himself Exorcism and might want to try and take this tower to cut down where Monet is able to farm. Faded Brooch. Wood's got the Mask of Madness now. Take a look over at the Void Spirit with a regen rune in his bottle, now going for the Euls, as is the Death Prophet, closer to it than he is. Now, at least for the moment. Mid-matchup, 600 gold ahead. This is, Ori beating Setsu once again. Timber Chain over, you have the Spirit Siphon. There's the Silence onto the Morphling. They've got the Crypt Sworn. They have the damage with the Exorcism to get the kill, and they'll follow that up with a Tier 1 tower towards top. So, to get this kill here onto Monet, definitely a big one, and then the tower on top of it. Give me the additional objectives. Silence, Icarus Dive all the way back. Another kill here for Vici, up 5-0. Use that Demonic Purge, and now Super on the run with the Timber Chain and the Whirling Death coming through to get the kill. They'll rotate over the Void Spirit to try and look over and get DY at least. They'll finally trade at least one kill. Now Yang stopped with the Aether Remnant. Setsu doesn't have another Astral Step to work with. Pops that regen. But Vici still feeling very confident, and Yang doing more of what he did in the previous game. And that's kind of just stay here over towards top, get as much farm as you can, put as much pressure onto the tower. And, well, if anybody comes over, you're pretty tanky, so it doesn't really matter.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So, Faceless Void from the Mask of Madness now going into the Diffusal Blade. Yura's trying to farm up as much as he can. Still looking for the Blink Dagger here on the Earthshaker, who does have that Echo Slam now available. We're yet to see it in any exchange just yet. And they finally have the Euls here on the Death Prophet. Good finish off here from the Timbersaw. Starts to rotate over towards mid. They'll try to make a move on to Setsu, still looking into this Euls. Especially if Ori leads the way, they get themselves the Euls down. This could be problematic for the Void Spirit, but they've got Exorcism ready to go once again. And they should be able to take this Tier 1 tower without the use of it. Hold it for the next fight. Burrow Strike comes in as well as the Astral Step. They look over to get this kill onto the Death Prophet, but the Euls is there to stay alive for a little bit longer. The Dissimulate comes in. Ori low and drops. Supernova committed to this. They'll look for Yang, but well, not exactly that easy to go and get the kill onto the Timbersaw now, is it, Meow? Turns into the Timbersaw, continues the chase onto Yang. Burrow Strike hits. He's eating a lot of this damage. They've got the disruption for the save, but for how long? Aether Remnant locks him up. Timber Chain away. Still dealing with this Timbersaw. Is RNG. Not been able to kill Yang once yet. For Vici, they understand the pace of this game right at this moment. And realizing that Morphling now going into the E-Blade, of course that different build where he's been given enough space to commit to go for the E-Blade instead of the Manta style first, or the necessities changing. Super on the run, Ori walking through that Firefly as Super gets out of harm's way. They still have this Exorcism up if they want to take this outpost and pressure the Tier 2 tower top.
Radiant are scanning.
Earth's bounty.
Radiant's bottom tower
DY
is
spotted
under
by
attack.
Super. And call finished here on, or picked up here
Radiant's bottom tower has
via the
fallen.
neutral camp for the Faceless Void, and as I believe the Diffusal Blade is coming in.
Dire's top tower is under under attack.
Continue to move in for Super. Got the lasso, but the fissure hits, so uses that lasso. Won't be able to drag Eurus anywhere. Eurus still working with this Chronosphere. Who actually went away from the Diffusal Blade. I didn't even notice that. I think he still had it cute. Goes to the Yasha instead. Will be going for a Manta style of his own. Go for the tier 2 tower. Should be able to take it with little contention here from RNG. But I say that and they start to set up nearby.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
All the while, Morphling continue to farm. He's got that Eagle Song and should be close to getting the Ghost Scepter. Silence comes out onto the Void Spirit. Eurus, though, can't catch up to get the Chronosphere down, but now the Dissimilate comes in as well as the Burrow Strike. Epicenter, Echo Slam follows. Chronosphere hits on the Void Spirit and the Morphling. They look to try and get this Supernova out of the way, but now Monet as well as Setsu are alive to try and turn this around. They got the kill into PYW. They traded September. Now they look over as they'll lose Ori, most likely. The Spirit Siphon coming in from Monet onto this Death Prophet. Void might be next to follow. He's locked up, but Time walks north. He gets some distance. Timber Chain across. They get the kill there on Setsu. Monet now trying to at least get the kill here onto the Shadow Demon, but DY surviving for a moment. They get the stun from the Centaur neutral creep. DY still falls. Flywind still survives, despite the fact that the neutrals are against him. Burrow Strike comes through from Flywind, and they lock up Yang to get the kill there. So a 4 for 2 on a very extended fight, and that pushes Morphling into the E-Blade. So things getting a little bit tougher for Vici than they were in the first game, and pressure being felt right now. So we'll see if you start to alleviate said pressure. Eurus still looking to go into that Manta. A little bit of gold away from picking up that ulti orb, and then from there, we'll get quickly into the recipe. But so far, a great game for Monet. 1,400 gold ahead of the top net worth hero here on Vici. There's a big split between that and the rest of the Dire side, but overall, it's really not that bad. They've got the Aether Remnant. Look for the Burrow Strike to save with the disruption. They throw over the Demonic Purge out onto Flywind, but a quick kill there from Monet onto DY. They've also got the lasso through onto Eurus and the Astral Step. Can Eurus get away? He is not able to escape. Did not have Time Walk off cooldown, and yet another kill here onto the Faceless Void.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So Blink Dagger finally picked up here by the Earthshaker. We'll have a way to get into these fights a little bit easier now with an Echo Slam.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
It's a 3,000 net worth lead right now for Royal Never Give Up.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Super good with that fissure, but he'll just fly away. So for Royal Never Give Up, things have gone much better than game one. Setsu much more of a presence, isn't 1-11, that's for sure, on that Necro in the previous game. He probably doesn't want to relive that, and is doing a great job so far on this Void Spirit since second on the net worth overall. And it's just the space that they've been able to make here for Monet, who's going into that BKB next. Vici, who were putting on the pressure once upon a time. They took the tier 2 out early in this game, and then they were pressuring the mid lane as well.
Top tower.
Things have kind of fallen off for them, and it's RNG's time to shine so far. Haven't exactly fought all too much, just 17 kills, 21 minutes into the game. September goes into the Spirit Vessel. That's the difference we saw in the previous game too, where Ori was on that Kunkka. He goes to the Spirit Vessel instead. We see a Eul's come in from the Phoenix of PYW. But with Setsu not going into his own Spirit Vessel, he's going for the Ags. It'll be a Spirit Vessel here for the Phoenix. They'll smoke up his 3. See if they can find anybody. They do have a deep ward within the jungle here. I believe had spotted Eurus, who's now going back for that Diffusal Blade that he had queued up earlier. He had gotten the first Blade of Alacrity, turns over to the Manta style, and now going back to the Diffusal. They'll get the Burrow Strike as well as the Epicenter. Can they get the kill on the Yang? There's the Aether Remnant as well as the Lasso. They are going to commit a lot to get this Timber Saw. And they finally kill Yang for the second time. So continuing to extend that lead, up 5,000 net worth, 9-9, first to 10K betters, all over, having heart palpitations.
Double damage.
We're just about finishing this BKB. Let's see how quickly Eurus can get into this Diffusal Blade. The Ag's finished. Double Resonant Pulse, that 2-second silence there for the Resonant Pulse. Things can definitely become much more of an issue here for Vici up against this Ags. I think ever since the addition, it's become one of the strongest Ags in the game, and I was really shocked to see Vici allow it to go through. Royal Never Give Up, they had the first pick, so they weren't going to ban it out. And Vici let it slip through the cracks. Astral step forward, throws the Aether Remnant down. DY trying to run, but there's the silence out from the Resonant Pulse. Chronosphere committed. Now Void Spirit. He might have gone in too deep. But oh no! Eurus goes down so quickly. There's the Echo Slam flying in from PYW. They get the kill on a Setsu. Now they look over Monet with the Exorcism committed, but the Burrow Strike hits on a 3 as well as the Adaptive Strike coming out on the Air Shaker. Now they look over as they've got the Disruption out on a Monet, trying to get him deterred and backed off. But the Supernova comes in and pops, stuns up 2 of these heroes as Ori and Yang are trying to still go forward. They look over at Monet once again. They've got the Chakram on top. They'll get the kill on a Flywin as well as this Morphling. And all of a sudden, despite the fact that they lost this Faceless Void, this fight goes pretty well for Vici. They're looking at a +1 as Super on the run has nothing to really get away with. And this is looking like his death, and it will be. So somehow, some way, I mean, Eurus got obliterated in that fight. Monet snapped his fingers, he became dust, and then from there, I mean, the perfect Echo Slam was taken once it presented its opportunity there for PYW, and from a 5,000 net worth lead to just 2,000. That works out so well for Vici, despite the fact that they've lost that Void in a heartbeat. Wow. I'm impressed. That was an impressive turnaround there from Vici. So from there, let's see where Vici want to go with this. They're going into the Hex on the Death Prophet. Still looking over to that Diffusal Blade for Eurus, who is really looking for some space, especially after the pressure being felt from that fight. Threw the Chrono down. Looked like maybe he could go after Setsu. He had really thrown quite a good Chrono, but not perfect. And there was that little sliver of imperfection that allowed Royal Never Give Up to pop the Faceless Void. Yang again, hit with the lasso, and now they've got Monet turning into the Timber Saw. They find the Euls to lock up Yang even longer. The E-Boy comes in, but the save is there from DY. Now they've got the silence out onto the Morphling. The Epicenter flies in as well as the Burrow Strike, but they still can't get the kill on the Yang. They've got this pressure coming through as well as the Supernova committed. However, Vici pretty much unscathed. That's through Epicenter, that's through Supernova, as well as the lasso. When you throw everything in the kitchen sink and you come away empty-handed, it is a bad feeling. It's certainly one that drops the gut a little bit, like you're going down on a roller coaster. You get that feeling in the bottom of your stomach. You're like, well, we just threw everything. And, well,
Tower is under attack.
what do we get? It's that little bit of fear. And maybe what you have ain't good enough. At the 26-minute mark, they go over in Roche. This should be an easy Aegis here for the side of Vici. And with the second life presenting itself for Void, Vici all of a sudden step into the driver's seat. So continuing to cut into the net worth lead that Royal Never Give Up had. As this is certainly a close one and a much better showing from both these teams, or more so Royal Never Give Up than that first game, which was just a rollover. It will be the BKB next year for Faceless Void. We've got the BKB at 9 seconds here. BKB next for both the Morphling as well as the Void Spirit, so let's see. Do Vici want to use this Aegis more to maybe stay a little bit more complacent with their positioning and farm more? Or do they want to use this Aegis to fight? Look to put pressure here on the bottom tier 1. Eurus all by himself pushing the tier 1. He's got some help to the sides, but for the most part he is here by himself. Cliff out, and Monet will take the tower over towards top. He's going to continue to push this lane out and go towards the top tier 2. Eurus still working on a tier 1 over bot. And now the TP comes in from Yang to try and deter the side of RNG. They get the tier 1 tower finally. Yang, though, see how long he's able to stay there without RNG making a jump. Saves from DY have definitely been game changers, and now they look over the Sand King. The Demonic Purge comes in, but there's the Astral Step right on top of the Shadow Demon. He's silenced up, so he doesn't have the save of the Disruption. They'll get the kill on a fly win. Now with the lasso out on Ori, there's the E-Way. They get the kill. The Chronosphere comes out on a 2. Can they turn this? They look over, and I said 2, but the Batrider was behind the Morphling. They'll get the kill on a September. Now they look over at Setsu, who's got the double damage. He comes in with the Astral Step, as well as the silence coming in from Monet, who morphed into the Death Prophet. Gets the silence out on a couple of these heroes. Setsu looking to turn this around on a Yang, but Eurus maybe looking to go out on a Setsu. The silence comes out from the Resonant Pulse, hitting out of both these heroes. Yang now with Eurus trying to fight, trying to man up. They look over at Setsu, who Astral Steps away. There's the Match Style pop by Monet, still into the Death Prophet form. They've got the silence. That'll stop him from time walking away, but now they just need a bash. They've got the Timber Chain coming across as well as the Dissimulate. They'll pop the Aegis, and now can they get anything more? Timber Chain once again from Yang. Doesn't have anything to stop the movement here of RNG, and it looks like they might even look to re-engage. So back and forth we go. Chronosphere now down, and we'll be down for the next 100 seconds.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Things have stayed pretty close for the last 10 minutes or so. Win percentage 51% in favor of Vici at the moment. Bottom looks like we're going to see ourselves a fight once again. The Barrel Strike comes out on the PYW as well as the E-Boy. The X-Time gets committed, but it looks pretty weak. Disruption comes through as well as Setsu going over for DY. Sunray on top of him, Resonant Pulse, and Super gets the last blow. Both the 4 and the 5 taken out by RNG.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And feeling like they have free reign to kind of do whatever they want now that they know the Chronosphere isn't available. And it won't be for another 50 seconds, so, you know, without the Aegis, without the Chrono, things defensively at least are to defend themselves against RNG's pressure feel pretty weak.
Radiant
And
structures.
they also just used the Echo Slam bottom. That's going to be down for a minute and a half.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So just about getting into this. BKB is Faceless Void. Ori, meanwhile, still building off this Hex. He's got the BKB finish on the Void Spirit. That's 10 seconds. And then Morphling goes into the Axe. Before he goes into the BKB, they've got themselves the lasso out on Yang once again. Morphs into this Sand King. They don't follow it up. Still about 3 minutes until Roche is available. We now have the Chronosphere available and the BKB here for the Faceless Void of Eurus. Dang, he's only died 2 times, but throughout some of these fights, he's felt a little bit ineffective. So smoke on a 4 here for Royal Never Give Up. They've morphed into the Sand King, so he's got that Ags range with the Burrow Strike. They've got 2 Burrow Strikes to fly towards this Vici side. And Burrow Strike hits on a DY. Get the easy kill with the Dissimulate from Setsu. And they're starting to really pick out these supports. And the fights are getting harder and harder looking for the side of Vici. So trying to see where the answers start to come here for Vici. They're only down about 5,000 net worth, but you know, things look okay when they've got everything available, when they have the Chronosphere, when they have the Exorcism and Echo Slime to drop. But when those things are down and you're unable to really fight up against this Royal Never Give Up lineup, all of a sudden things seem a little bit more difficult in trying to defend. I've kept it close. We can give them that. It's only a 4,000 lead. Is maxed out at about, what, 6,000-ish? They've smoked. They've got the Chrono. And we'll try to make a jump here. Got an illusion coming over onto Super. Time walk forward from Eurus, and they won't find anything for all their troubles. Will be Bloodthorn next here for the Void Spirit. Monet still going into the BKB. And then Sand King, he's got the Blink, Lotus Orb, and Pipe. Next for him is a Force Staff and a Sheep's Guard coming up for the Phoenix. And then the Bat Rider, he's got that Blink Dagger to cut down and try to grab himself a lasso. So some big items still coming in for RNG. Shadowblade next for the Earthshaker. Hex there for the Death Prophet. So we're looking at a Bloodstone potentially for Yang if he's given the space to really get this. He's already got himself the Pipe, the Lotus Orb, as well as the Guardian Greaves. He is a very, very tanky Timber, and they have tried to go after this guy multiple times, and it just feels like they can't rip through him at all. So Invis Rune for Monet. He's coming through, and, well, Yang, he's nearby with Eurus inside the pit. Roche is up in 1:13, so both teams starting to posture near this Roche pit. Hope to get that next Aegis. Vici start to back away from the pit. Still a minute to go. At the 35-minute mark. Still that 5,000 net worth lead here for Royal Never Give Up. It hasn't really increased all too much. It hasn't really gone down at all. We take a look over mid. They've got the Fissure coming through, and the Setsu who's got the Lotus Orb on him as well as the BKB being popped. Yang, hit with the Yules. Doesn't get silenced by the Resonant Pulse, but coming around the side is Eurus. Maybe looking for stragglers. I know that Roche is getting close to spawning. Yang gonna front line for the side of Vici, and now they've got this Hex to work with. BKB down for this Void Spirit for another 45 seconds, so looking at potential timings here where maybe he fights without the BKB, but might not be necessary. So the second Rosh is up. We'll see who ends up getting away with it. And they continue to morph into the Sand King and continue to go towards this BKB as he sits second on the net worth behind his Void Spirit. Behind his ally Void Spirit, who's still building into the Bloodthorn. Epicenter charged up. Blink with the lasso. They look over at Ori. They've got the Burrow Strike coming in from Monet, and they'll get the kill there on Ori. He is gone for 80 seconds. That might just be Aegis and Cheese into the hands of RNG. Finally extending that net worth lead and finally get away with something big. Still doesn't mean that this is a free Rosh. All they've got is Monet in there, so it's not the fastest Rosh just yet. Now Yang leading the charge. Blink from Super in an interesting spot. But he gets forced after the low ground. The Icarus dive comes all the way full circle. They look over flying with the BKB being popped by Eurus as well as the Void Spirit. Void Spirit working with the double damage as his BKB is about to run out. Now they find themselves the Sand King. They'll get the kill here on the Flywin. He's got buyback, but he's dead for 70, so let's see. Can Vici continue to maintain outside this pit and potentially take this Rosh trophy as their own? It's very tense here by the pit. Because this can certainly be a lot in terms of what you lose if you lose this fight. So Yang continuing to look in the pit, continuing to be the scout up in front, knowing how tanky he is, knowing that RNG have a hard time killing him. Still we wait for another potential Rosh fight. Ori back alive. Flywin back up as well. Doesn't immediately go to the morph into the Sand King just yet. There's the smoke coming in from Vici. And Yang moves forward. As now finally Morphling has chosen to become that Sand King once again. He's got the gold for buyback, he's got the gold for a BKB, and now they've got the lasso over on the side. The Astral Step comes in. They might have found the Shadow Demon once again. They'll get the kill here on a DY. The Exorcism gets committed as well as the Chronosphere. That comes out on a Monet. They get the kill here onto this Morphling. He buys back immediately. That's why he was holding onto the gold. They look over as Exorcism has been popped. Can RNG get back into the pit? They don't have DY to work with. That was the Chronosphere down. But now does that mean you have to give up this Rosh because you've used most of your kit? They've got the Fissure coming through, and that hits onto Super. They get the kill here onto this Bat Rider. And still tense outside the pit. Exorcism about to run out. Yang moves forward, throws the Chakram down. He morphs back into the Sand King, and now he's got a lot of time left on that duration to go in and look for a long-range Burrow Strike. The Lotus Orb gets placed onto Monet. He's inside the Sandstorm. They've got a sentry down for the Dire side and a sentry close for the Radiant. This game finally pulling back to about even. It was a 7,000 net worth lead for Royal Never Give Up, but comes all the way back here for Vici, and there is the smoke. They don't have Chronosphere to work with for another 77 seconds, as well as Exorcism for 40. They're showing Yang near the pit. They've got the smoke that gets broken by Yang. Timber Chain onto the high ground, super thinking about going in. Has that lasso available, and now Morphling again from behind. He's that Sand King to look for the epicenter. They've got that down out on Ori. He's gone for 90 seconds. Meanwhile, the Blink as well as the Totem coming through on a super. They get themselves a 1-for-1 trade, but now it's DY dying once again. He buys back immediately. Yang with the Timber Chain onto the high ground. They look over at Monet. They've got the illusions hitting away at this Morphling, but it's really not doing anything. And, well, RNG, they got the kill onto the Death Prophet. They're happy with this. Has used his buyback. He will get a BKB in just a moment. Ori has died back-to-back times on this Death Prophet. And that has been the focus with the Burrow Strike Epicenter, as well as the second Burrow Strike from the Morphling. Yang saving himself up 4,500 gold. Buyback situation. Got Void Spirit with buyback as well as the Timber, Sand King, Phoenix, and Earthshaker. No buyback here for the Faceless Void. He's gone into a Lincoln's. So, bit of a defensive item coming in for the Void up against this RNG lineup. Illusion Escape gets found by the Phoenix. That's a good one to have. Ninja Gear as well is a great one with that extra agility. For the Morphling, Burrow Strike comes out on a DY. He bought back in the previous exchange. He'll be dead for 75 seconds, no buyback. And now they look over the pit once again. Now this time, it's not as easy. Illusion Escape also there for the Void. They've got the Chronosphere. They have Epicenter, or they have Exorcism as well as the Echo Slam. Both teams in and out of the pit they go. They poke, they prod, they look for an opening. They've got Roche down to about half health. The Burrow Strike comes out onto Yang, but you look at how tanky he is and how hard it will be to get through the outer shell of this Timbersaw. Blink, Lasso comes out onto Yang. They've got the Sunray out. There's the Astral Step. Can they finally get through him? Yes, they can. They got the Chronosphere coming through on it through the BKB being popped by Monet. Look, the Supernova is out on the side. They don't get any kills within the Chronosphere. Now the Supernova is about to pop. That stuns up Ori as well as Eurus. This could be a big problem for the side of Vici. They've got themselves the Aether Remnant as well as the Fissure coming through. They still have Echo Slam to work with. Eurus gets to the Time Walk on the other side of the Roche pit, but he ends up dead for 95 seconds without buyback. Exorcism still down on the ground. Yang, he's come back into this fight. He bought back, I believe, for this, and now there's the Epicenter on top of him with the Burrow Strike. They've got the Fissure as well as the Echo Slam. Oh, it's not enough damage, however, Ori's dead. Flywind goes down, they'll buy back on the Sand King. Now they're chasing after PYW. This is really falling apart for the side of Vici. The Sunray as well as the Spirit Vessel on him. The Astral Step will get the final touch on to this Earthshaker. Now they look over at Yang, who will Timber Chain away, but the Adaptive Strike comes through and doesn't finish him off. So this is finally Roche for Royal Never Give Up. Aegis Cheese into their hands. A 15,000 net worth lead, a big jump from what was even a moment ago. Go after the tier 2 tower. They don't have a Void for 24 seconds, no Chronosphere for 70, no Epicenter for, or Exorcism for 55, and no Death Prophet for 30. Lasso with the Lotus Orb. They've locked down the Batrider, but they look over at DY once again. They just jump the back lines and get these kills onto the supports. They look over PYW, who gets invis for a moment, but this is a tier 3 going down for certain. Maybe I shouldn't have said for certain, because I jinxed that for sure. Monet trying to be a deer and help me out on that definitive language that I've used. Now without DY for another 16 seconds, without the Chronosphere for another 23. RNG, they don't end up breaking the high ground.
I'll take your tribute.
Sun turned into a 21,000 net worth lead with a Daedalus coming the way of Monet. Ori going in the Aeon Disc as he has felt like he's just kind of been blown through very quickly in these fights. Bro strike not gonna land. Yang gets the Lotus Orb on himself. He walks away from this one, at least for now. It's RNG continuing to just mount some pressure through mid. Buyback available on the Phoenix as well as the Void Spirit. Morphling's down for another 35 seconds, also 1,700 gold short of it. Void going into a Daedalus of his own, as well as Ori, like I said, going into the Aeon Disc, just trying to survive these fights. PYW building into a Refresher Orb, and DUI going for an Aether Lens, maybe being able to sit a little bit further back.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
So we get the top tier 2. Continue to just farm up everything that really Vici can't. Yang Burrow Strike, that lands, and well, Yang, he should be fine. Silence comes out, now Eurus very far forward, hit with the Aether Remnant. Do they look to turn around for the side of RNG? They don't. Had Eurus locked up for a moment, but Vici keep everybody alive and they continue to hold. RNG just looking for the proper moment to go in, but again, this could be a poor situation if they go in right now and they don't have buybacks available and they don't take out enough where they lose the fight just in an utter wipe. So being very meticulous with where they want to go, looking for the Ag's Blessing and then bring the Satanic into his inventory with both the Treads and the Satanic. Finally, the Aeon Disc gets finished for this Death Prophet. Looking towards level 25. You got 27 here for Morphling. You do have the 25 available for the Faceless Void, who's working with that backtrack. I think he's the only one at level 25. No, you got 26 here for the Timbersaw. That's why he's got that long Timber Chain reach.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So they smoke up, they place some vision down, they find
Radiant's middle tower
nobody
has
in
fallen.
their jungle.
Radiant's middle barracks
Although the
are
ward
under
here
attack.
spots out Yang and basically the rest of Vici. They'd eventually take that tier 3 tower over mid. Now there's the Aegis expiring. So Morphling holds on to the cheese. RNG again looking for their right moment to go in on this. And this is really what Yang causes by being out there and giving the information to the rest of his team and being able to stand so far forward with not much fear of going down so quickly. He really disrupts the flow here from RNG. Refresher for the Phoenix. Go for the Outpost. They'll look for a little bit of experience at this 50-minute mark. They also give away their positioning, maybe somewhat on purpose, as they've got the Hex from quite a distance. Now they've got the Chronosphere committed to this, as well as the Exorcism. They'll get through Eurus very quickly. They'll get the kill there. They'll take him out. And now Monet is gone for 2 minutes. He does have buyback. That's Chronosphere and Exorcism committed on that play, though. And that's exactly what is necessary to take out this Morphling. Doctoring Core putting the Resonant Pulse with 2 charges and a short cooldown. short recharge time. How quickly that circle fills back up. 26 to 22, 50 minutes in. 10 minutes away from getting ourselves tier 5 items. Havoc Hammer picked up here by the Shadow Demon, so they're still looking, or we're looking for that last
Dire's
item.
middle tower is under attack.
And they finally grab it, and now they're going to start to put some pressure on over mid. If they can force the buyback on the Morphling, that's a big win here for the side of Vici. They have Chronosphere up in 76 and Exorcism in 60, so how much they're willing to commit is the question.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Roche potentially spawning in 35 seconds. That coincides with the respawn here of the Morphling. You take a look back over at RNG. Let's see what they're looking towards. They've got level 25 here for the Phoenix. The 3+ hits there on the Supernova, which has been a nuisance at times. Within the Chronosphere, just pops the Supernova immediately. Tries to get the timings right and save these heroes on the side of RNG with the pop of the Supernova, getting the stuns out on Vici. It's a Divine Rapier next for Setsu. One that he's got enough gold for. Take that outpost back. Clear out the vision here from the jungle. They've got the Exorcism up. Chronosphere available in 8 seconds. Flywind moving forward. There's the Burrow Strike that only hits onto DY. They've got the Silence coming through onto the Void Spirit as well as the Bat Rider. Now they look over at Flywind. They've got the Icarus Dive as well as the Supernova coming through. They need to exchange themselves out of here. BKB will be committed to get the kill onto DY. Supernova pops. I think that goes okay, all things considered, for Vici, with Supernova now down on an 83-second cooldown, but you do have the Refresher Orb for September. So really not much used there by RNG to get that kill. Does Setsu commit to this Divine Rapier? Just 7 minutes to go until we get the tier 5s. So Yang staying forward even still. Now he's got this heart to work with. 38 armor. Burrow Strike comes in. Yang in trouble. Now the lasso comes through, but the Chronosphere on the 3, and the Sunray pulls the Phoenix in. They look over at Monet. They got the Icarus Dive coming down. They get the kill into the Morphling. Now a buyback immediately with the Icarus Dive coming in as well as the Supernova once again. PYW ends up dead. The Timber Chain attempted by Yang to try and get out of this one, but he's hit up with the Yules. Supernova comes in. Now the Disruption saved from DY. Epicenter's not going to do a lot. Let's see if Vici can get anything out of this. Bought back, Burrow Strike misses. Monet bought back. You need to be careful here if you're the Morphling. So now, with Morphling without buyback again, they have to get this Roche, and it is Aegis, Cheese, and Refresher Shard. Here potentially for Royal Never Give Up. Again, that is Echo Slam, that is Chronosphere, that is Exorcism all down. Fissure comes through. Now they look over to get the kill on the Bat Rider. Can they take Super out of this fight immediately? They bring him back. They get the kill onto the Bat Rider. They take him out. The Sunray forward. The Chakram hits. Or, sorry, the Whirling Death comes in. Burrow Strike. Another one. This is problematic for Eurus. But the Time Walk as well as the Fissure that comes through. They'll get this save out onto the face of Void. The BKB's going to be popped here by Ori. Looks over with the Silence coming out on Monet. He'll purge that off with the Manta. They've got the Yules out, controlling him for a moment. That Assimilate comes through, but is it going to be enough? BKB's been popped by Eurus. They look over at Flywind. Do they have the damage to get the kill on the Sand King? It's a short-range Burrow Strike to get himself out of harm's way, and now Setsu over on the side. He goes in, gets that bounty room, but this is while the fight is roaring. Yang hit with the Burrow Strike. He's kind of in a weird spot. RNG start to back away. PY sitting at level 19. My oh my. Would you love to have him have a bit more? This extends some time here. Fissure comes through. If Monet dies, that's a big problem. Supernova comes in with the BKB being popped by Setsu. They look over at PYW, who bought back in their last exchange. Now, Disruption saves him. Burrow Strike hits onto Eurus. Do they have the control to get the Faceless Void? They've also got the Lasso as well as the Sunray. This might be the damage. This is the kill. He buys back Chronosphere. How much time? It's 20 seconds. Now, does RNG continue to move on forward for this now that they've got the buyback coming out from the Faceless Void? He buys back, and Chrono up in 5. Exorcism up, Echo Slam up. They go into Roche. Setsu moving forward with the Aether Remnant placed down. That hits on a Yang. That'll keep Eurus available. Now Burrow Strike through. Still didn't buy onto the Divine Rapier, but they've got the Hex coming out of the Morphling, and now they look for the Chronosphere. He holds it. A little bit of lag coming in. He's continuing to feint on this, but they finally get the BKB out on the Monet as well as the Chronosphere. Can they get the kill on the Morphling? He'll be dead without buyback, but he gets out alive! Waveform away. Now he turns into the Sand King. Trying to run away is now the side of Vici, because they've used everything once again. They still have the Echo Slam with PYW waiting in the wing, trying to find an opening here to get the dunk down that will potentially save the game for Vici. There's the Fissure coming through. They look over at Monet. They get the kill. He's gone, done and dusted for 2 minutes. They look over the Phoenix. They get the kill in September. He's gone for 100 seconds. Echo, not the Echo Slam. It's the Epicenter coming in with a Burrow Strike hitting on a 4. You look over at Flywin, who's now out of mana with a Lotus Orb on him. He's trying to run away with the Fissure hitting from PYW. He continues to stay in this fight, but now he's finally lasted over by the Bat Rider, who starts to pull him away, but the Disruption comes up for DY. There's the time walk forward. Vici might have saved this game. They go after Super. They'll chase with the Timber Chain that's got that extra extension thanks to the 25 talent, and they will get the kill on the Bat Rider. Oh, Void Spirit. He's also in trouble. They've got the silence. He gets into the Dissimulate. Now he's trying to run with the BKB as well as the Astral Step to let him go. They need to let him leave. Roche is your objective. Roche is your target. And RNG, now still 16,000 net worth ahead, are on their heels. Aegis, Cheese, Refresher, things you want in the hands of a Faceless Void who wants to get that Chrono down. With Morphling still down for 40 seconds, Vici looking to make their move. They've got Exorcism up in 30. Kind of coincides here with the Morphling, but do they need the Exorcism? Let's see. Starts to try and go through this back door. Creeps pushing in finally, but there's the Glyph. They're holding. We've got 20 seconds until the Morphling is up. Eurus, 30 seconds until he's gotten himself the Chronosphere. The BKB is going to be popped here by Setsu. Setsu's bought into the Divine Rapier. Does he have buyback even if it goes down? Yes, he's got a little bit of surplus, but they take the tier 3 tower away. They look after the set of racks. How long are Vici willing to stay? Chronosphere, 17 seconds. PYW with the Echo Slam available as well as the Fissure from long range out. They'll get themselves the set of racks over mid. Now you look over towards top. They're trying to stay as systematic as they can. Keep it going. Look over towards this top area with the Ags picked up by Faceless Void. He's got the time walk he has the time lock every time he time walks forward. They've got the Refresher coming through. Now they've got the Chronosphere, but there's the Burrow Strike as well as the Epicenter coming in. There's the Supernova. Is it going to line up with the Disruption? It will. They've got themselves the Aether Remnant. Now the time walk away, but the Supernova really doesn't do enough. They look over at Yang. They've got the damage with this Spirit Vessel and the Sunray right on top of him. They've locked up Monet, but he's into the BKB. Now can they get the kill here onto the Morphling? They've got themselves the Fissure as well as the Echo Slam! That gets the kill on Monet, and now they look for the second Supernova, but there's the Astral Step coming forward from Setsu, who's no longer within the BKB. They look over at Eurus. They get the kill. That's going to be the first life gone. Now, can they get the kill out onto this Death Prophet who eats the cheese and keeps up with it? Oh boy, without the Morphling, once again, this opens up for Vici. This is going to be a huge problem here for RNG to try and defend without it, but they've got the Divine Rapier out onto the Void Spirit. That's their last-ditch effort to try and save this game. They go after the top set of racks on the side of Vici. They've got everybody alive, so it's a 5v4 situation that's favoring Vici on this one. They've cut it down to a 12,000 net worth lead in Vici. Are they going to go for the tier 4s? The Blink, Burrow Strike, that comes through, as well as the Astral Step. PYW staying alive. Now they look over at Setsu. He's got the Dissimulate now getting out of harm's way, but they lose PYW. They lose Flywin. He's got no buyback. Dead for 2 minutes. Now they look over at Setsu. He might be able to drive the Divine Rapier if he goes down.
down. Super burning them away with Firefly, but it's not a lot of damage, and it's completely mitigated, really, by how late this game is. Firefly doesn't really feel like much of anything, and now 3 heroes are gone without buyback. They've got PYW dead for 100 seconds. He doesn't have buyback, but now they'll go after the set of racks over top, finish it off with the Exorcism, potentially. Vici trying to finish the series out 2-0. Let's see what they're able to accomplish here. Is RNG still continuing to try and hold this game? And they got the Hex. There's the Divine Rapier on the deck. No! The Dissimulate is out with the BKB. Setsu getting it into base. No, he can't! He drops the Divine Rapier. Eurus picks it up, and this is looking like the game here for Vici. It looked for a moment that he was able to get inside the well and survive, but no! Eurus goes forward with the Time Walk. He gets the hit that kills off this Void Spirit. Setsu, now with the Divine Rapier down, he is not really hitting that hard at all. Setsu with the Astral Step forward with the Ancient exposed. It's going down. It's getting low. They've got themselves the Aether Remnant coming through into the Faceless Void, and now that Dissimulate stuns him up, they got a little 25 talent here. Astral Step forward again. The BKB popped by Monet. Can they focus on the Ancient? They've got the Supernova coming in. Eurus with the Time Walk getting more health. Can they get it? Yes, they can! Vici Gaming with the 2-0 victory from 30,000 net worth behind Vici Gaming. Oh, man! I just don't believe what I just saw! That was an hour game, 32-32, and that was what you're looking for with Dota! Jesus! Royal never give up. I mean, they were up by 30,000 just about, and Vici Gaming claw their way back into it. Oh, man. I need to, hold on. Give me a second. Wow. I can't believe they pulled that off. That was so outstanding there from Vici to pull that game back. The fact that Eurus is landing that Chronosphere, he fainted that Chronosphere by that fight by the Roche Pit 3 or 4 times. That was not my computer lagging. It was, you saw the cast animation, waiting for the moment, and bam! Lands it, takes Monet out, forces the buyback, and now things, they start to crumble right from that spot. And when you no longer have the buyback and a lot of your damage is being taken out, I mean, it looked like maybe Void Spirit could hold the game, but Vici, how do they pull this back? That is insane! Just absolutely insanity. I fucking love this game. Yang only dies like 4 times that game. They couldn't kill him after like the 35-minute mark. Eurus, 8-4-17. Those stats might not scream amazing, but he did what his team puts on him, and he gets away with it. And Vici Gaming, from the brink of defeat, pull it back. 2-0 victory. And they move on to only tomorrow, where it's a lower bracket final between them and IG, where Vici are going to look to get themselves revenge as they were taken into the lower bracket because IG beat them 2-1 on a reverse sweep. That's tomorrow. We're done here today. Vici move on to the next day here at 6:52 a.m. in the morning here in the Eastern time for myself. What a way to not be able to sleep, because I am shaking. I'm shaking from that game. That was so exciting. That's what you love. Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm rambling. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. Let's do this again tomorrow. Am I right? Let's watch some great Dota. I love this. Have a good one. Vici 2-0.